understandable English podcast.
Learn English the easy way.
I have officially decided that I am never going to another baby shower ever again. It is too dangerous for my mental health, and the food is always way too small.
Good morning to you too, Bryan. Let me guess. You ate too many tiny sandwiches on a Sunday afternoon, and now you are having a complete existential crisis? Welcome back to the Understandable English podcast, everyone.
I didn't even get to eat the tiny sandwiches, Jessica. I was too busy having a silent panic attack in the corner of the room.
I see. Well, if anyone listening has ever attended a party and suddenly felt like their entire life was a failure, please hit the like button right now, because Bryan needs to know he is not alone in this feeling. Tell me exactly what happened at this baby shower to cause such a strong reaction.
It was my good friend from university. He and his wife are having their first baby, which is wonderful. I am very happy for them. But the environment of a baby shower is just intense. I walked into their house, and there were pastel balloons everywhere. There was a giant cake shaped like a baby bottle. There was a mountain of gifts wrapped in shiny paper.
It sounds like a very traditional, very normal celebration of a new life.
It was, and that was the problem. I was sitting there on a very uncomfortable wooden dining chair, holding a paper plate with a small blue cupcake on it. I was watching my friend open a box containing microscopic socks, tiny little baby socks, and everyone in the room was clapping and cheering. They were celebrating this massive, life-changing milestone.
And you were sitting there with your blue cupcake, comparing your life to his life.
Exactly. I looked at him holding these tiny socks, preparing to be a father, and I suddenly had a terrible realization. I thought to myself, what have I actually done this year? What is my biggest accomplishment over the last 12 months?
That is a very dangerous question to ask yourself at a party. What was the answer?
The answer, Jessica, is that my biggest personal achievement this entire year was finally upgrading my internet speed.
To be fair, you were complaining about your internet connection for 6 straight months. Getting the technician to actually come to your apartment and fix the cables was a major victory. You talked about it for a week.
Jessica, they are creating a human life. They are building a family. I just paid an extra $20 a month so my video games wouldn't freeze during the weekend. The contrast was horrifying. I was sitting in that chair completely freaking out. I felt this heavy weight in my chest, like I was physically shrinking. I felt like I was totally falling behind everyone else in the world.
The invisible life race. The feeling that everyone else is running on a track, moving forward, and you are somehow still tying your shoes at the starting line.
Yes, it feels like an invisible race that no one told me I was registered for. I get so caught up in looking at what other people are doing. It feels like everyone else received a secret manual on how to be an adult. They have a list of life goals, and they are just checking boxes every single year.
Get a stable career, check. Buy a house with a yard, check. Get married, check. Have a baby, check.
Exactly. And meanwhile, my only box is buy a better wireless router. I look at my friends, and they look so established. They look like real adults. I just feel like a late bloomer. Like I am supposed to be a serious grown-up by now, but my brain missed the instructions.
I think you are putting far too much pressure on yourself. You're comparing completely different lives.
It doesn't feel like pressure, it feels like reality. Every time I try to do something, I think it's just a stepping stone to my real life. Like my current apartment is just a stepping stone to a house. My current hobbies are just a stepping stone to something more productive. But then I looked at those tiny socks and realized this is it. This is my actual life right now, and I don't have anything to show for it.
Have you ever considered that the list of boxes you think you need to check is completely made up? Society gives us that list when we are born, and no one tells us we are allowed to throw it in the garbage. You aren't falling behind, Bryan. You are just running a completely different race. Or maybe you shouldn't be running at all.
What do you mean? How can you not feel the pressure? You are the same age as I am. You see the same posts on social media. You go to the same weddings and baby showers. How do you stay so calm when everyone around you is buying houses and starting families?
Because I stopped looking at life as a series of mandatory milestones a long time ago. I have always preferred to look at life as collecting experiences rather than checking boxes on a list that someone else wrote for me.
Collecting experiences. That sounds very poetic, but what does it actually look like in the real world?
Well, let me give you an example. A few years ago, when most of my friends from university were getting their first big corporate promotions, buying new cars and moving into nice apartments, I decided to live in a small canvas tent for 3 months.
Wait, excuse me? You lived in a tent? Like in the woods? Did you lose your apartment? I have known you for years and you have never mentioned living in a tent.
I didn't lose my apartment. It was completely intentional. I had a perfectly fine, warm apartment in the city, but I sublet it to a university student for the summer, packed a single green backpack, and moved into a campsite near a national provincial park. I didn't have a plan. I just wanted to see if I could do it.
You voluntarily gave up a refrigerator, a mattress, and a real toilet, just to see if you could survive outside? While your friends were decorating their new living rooms and buying expensive sofas?
Yes. And my mother had a similar reaction to you. She called me in a panic, asking if I was having a breakdown. She thought I was throwing my life away. But I remember sitting outside my tent one morning in late September. It was incredibly cold, probably around 5 degrees Celsius.
That sounds miserable. Why would you enjoy that?
Let me finish the scene. I was sitting on a damp wooden log, holding a metal mug of terrible, cheap instant coffee. I was shivering in a thick wool sweater that smelled like campfire smoke. I watched the morning mist rising off the pine trees, and everything was completely silent. And in that specific moment, I felt entirely peaceful.
Even with the terrible coffee and the cold?
Especially because of it. I realized I didn't need a new car or a fancy job title to feel alive. I wasn't falling behind anyone because I wasn't on their track. I was exactly where I wanted to be on that specific Tuesday morning.
But didn't you ever look at your phone? Didn't you see a photo of someone getting engaged at a fancy restaurant while you were trying to prevent a wild squirrel from stealing your oatmeal?
The squirrels were actually very aggressive, I will admit that. I lost a lot of oatmeal, but no, I didn't feel jealous because my friends were checking their boxes, and those boxes made them happy. But their path wouldn't make me happy, and my damp tent with aggressive squirrels definitely wouldn't make them happy.
That is a very fair point. If you put my friend from the baby shower in a cold tent with instant coffee, he would probably start crying and demand to go home.
Exactly. We all have different capacities for different types of lives.
I think my problem is that I don't know what my tent is. I know I don't want to follow the traditional path right now, but because I don't have a clear alternative goal, I feel lost. Like I am just floating while everyone else is building a solid foundation.
I think that is perfectly normal. We get so obsessed with the idea of a perfect timeline. The timeline says you graduate at 22, you find a career at 24, you marry at 28. It is exhausting. And it doesn't allow for mistakes or changes of heart or just resting.
It really is exhausting. The pressure feels like you are being punished for taking your time. The whole concept of a late bloomer is framed as a negative thing. It implies that you are delayed, like a train that is running late and making everyone angry.
I disagree. I think it just implies that you bloom when the season is right for your specific environment. Some flowers bloom early in the spring, and some bloom late in the autumn. Neither one is incorrect. They just need different conditions to grow.
That makes me feel a little bit better. Maybe my internet upgrade is exactly what I needed for my current season of life. Maybe my season is just about relaxing and playing games online without lag.
There is absolutely no shame in that. We need to normalize having zero plans sometimes. Tell us in the comments, seriously, what is an unconventional achievement you are proud of this year? What is something you did that isn't on a traditional milestone list?
Yes, please share those. I want to read about your internet speed victories. Tell me if you managed to keep a houseplant alive for 6 months. Tell me if you learned how to bake bread. I want to celebrate the random, everyday things that make life actually enjoyable.
It is so important to celebrate those small moments. They are not distractions. They are the actual fabric of your life.
You know, talking through all of this anxiety makes me realize how many stressful English phrases I naturally use when I am feeling insecure. I was throwing out idioms left and right earlier because my brain was panicking. Like when I said I was sitting at the baby shower freaking out.
That is a very natural and common reaction phrase. When you are freaking out, it means you are experiencing a sudden feeling of high anxiety, panic, or intense fear about a situation. You lose control of your calm emotions. It is a very casual, spoken phrase when things feel overwhelming.
I was definitely overwhelmed by the sight of tiny baby socks. And that panic happened because I felt like I was falling behind. I use that phrase all the time when I start comparing myself to other people on social media.
Yes, to fall behind means to fail to do something fast enough or to not keep up with the progress of other people. If you are in a race and you run too slowly, you fall behind the other runners. But it is usually an illusion we create in our own minds.
It really is an illusion. The illusion is that everyone else has a list and they are checking boxes. I know I used that phrase earlier, and it perfectly describes the pressure I feel.
Checking boxes is a great descriptive idiom. It means you are completing tasks just because they are expected of you by society or your family. You are doing them in a routine, mechanical way, rather than doing them because you genuinely want the experience.
I definitely don't want to live my life just mechanically checking boxes. I want to actually enjoy my days. But it is so difficult when you get caught up in the comparison game.
To get caught up in something means to become so completely involved or absorbed in an activity or a thought pattern that you stop noticing reality. You were so caught up in your friend's new baby that you completely forgot to value your own life choices.
My life choice of demanding faster internet from my local provider. But sometimes I worry that the things I enjoy right now are just a stepping stone to nowhere. Like I'm waiting for real life to begin.
A stepping stone is actually a very positive concept. It refers to an event, an experience, or a small step that helps you progress to achieve a larger goal. Every job you hate, every apartment you live in, every random hobby you try can be a stepping stone to understanding yourself better, even if you don't know what the final destination is.
So my new router is a stepping stone to ultimate indoor peace. And maybe being a late bloomer isn't a bad thing. I think I used that phrase when I was complaining about missing the adult instruction manual.
You did. A late bloomer is simply a person whose talents, abilities, or life path become clear later than what society considers usual. It does not mean you failed. It just means you are taking a scenic route.
I like the idea of taking a scenic route. I feel significantly better now, Jessica. I am going to stop comparing my router to someone else's baby. They are completely different things, and both bring joy to the world in their own very specific ways.
That is a very strange comparison, Bryan, but it is a much healthier perspective. Just remember to walk your own path, at your own speed, or just sit in a tent and drink bad coffee. Whatever brings you peace.
Thank you for listening to the Understandable English podcast, everyone. Remember to celebrate your tiny victories today, even if nobody else claps for them.
Have a wonderful week, everyone. Take a deep breath, ignore the invisible race, and enjoy your own timeline.
Bye.
Goodbye.
I was freaking out about falling behind and being a late bloomer, but honestly, I'm too caught up in checking boxes on my new video games to worry. So I guess this fast internet is just a stepping stone to staying comfortably inside my apartment all winter.
At least you finally have a solid life plan, Bryan.